Welcome to the Astrocast for the week of June 22nd through the 28th, where this week, what nourishes you is not a detour. It is the bridge to your higher path. I'm Teresa Ann, your host, where I help you be your higher self so that you can create your highest destiny. That means this week, we're going to look at how you can be the you need to be to create the life you want to see in the big picture. And this week, let's break it down. So we start our week in Cancer season. We just on last Sunday slid into Cancer season on the solstice. So we'll be there for the next 4 weeks. On Monday, Moon Day, the moon is in Libra. Remember, she stays in a sign for 2.5 days. On Monday, Libra. So we are seeking the balance point, weighing things. Beauty lives in what feels harmonious. On Tuesday, Mars Day, still in Libra, weigh it gently. Let grace decide. Might be needing to give yourself or your life a little grace at the beginning of the week. On Wednesday, Mercury Day, the moon has slid into Scorpio very early in the morning, and we're going to go beneath the surface because truth is our treasure. I'm getting goosebumps. As we're each on our own hero's journey, we're going to have the same general message, but for each of us, but we're going to have that land a little bit differently in our bones. So I really want to invite you this week of following what's nourishing. I really want you to drop in as we keep going here. Bring in your intentions as we now start to look at the transits that are also going to be hitting this week. On Wednesday, we have Sun in Cancer because it's Cancer season and it's trining or in a harmonious relationship with the North Node in Pisces. And remember, the North Node is our place we're moving toward in our life. The South Node has qualities we're moving from. Maybe we developed them earlier in our life and we're moving toward that highest destiny for us in our whole hero's journey story. And so what nourishes us, Cancer, what nourishes you points the way. So follow it to your destiny. Thursday, Jupiter Day, Scorpio, again, feel it all the way down. Nothing to fear in the depths. So let's really dig down. If we're feeling like, does it feel like a detour this week? Or like, am I on sure footing? Or like, wow, last week really kind of put me in a place. And now here I am starting this week, right? So let's feel it down. There's nothing to fear. Let's bring it up because it's information. On Wednesday, our transit is that we have Venus in Leo. Venus in Leo, trining Saturn in Aries. What you love shines and it lasts. Build it bravely. I have some news for you here. You are the shiny object. You're the shiny object. So let's look at that one more time. And as we go in order, we actually break down. When I say let's break it down, I've literally broke it down for you. That's the former elementary school teacher in me. Venus in Leo, trine Saturn in Aries. What you love, Venus, shines in red for fire. Leo, what you love shines and it lasts. Build it bravely. Build it, says Saturn. Bravely, says Aries, right? Our color coding tells us what element it's in, fire, water, right? So what you love, you might feel truly nourishing you. You might not want to take time out for it this week, but what you love can nourish you, and it actually can help steer you on the path. What's feeling shiny? What makes you feel shiny? What makes you feel shiny? It will give you fuel. it will give you energy to be able to build it bravely. And why bravely? Because you really gotta be you to do it, right? You have to be you, right? And sometimes our light got dimmed, right? When we were being ourselves, or it's scary putting ourselves out there, right? It's like, where can you do that? Where are the nourishing, safe places where you can regularly be who you are in your fullest and practice being that so that you can more and more bravely be that more and more of the time, right? So that you can be who you need to be to create the life you want to see. We have another transit happening that same day. The sun is in Cancer. And again, you know, it's that Cancer, that that gentle, oh, look at that shine, even though Leo is our shine. You know, it's when we nourish ourselves, that we feel the tender part. You know, last week we were tending, and inside that crab shell, you know, ooh, that means tender in there. You know, it's tender all deep in there, right? And we've kind of got that shell in Cancer season that can kind of protect us a bit, you know, from what's out there, or kind of keep us like wanting to stay safe at home, right? Then we're never really going to feel what we want to feel in our life. So we've got to take those steps, right? To build it and to be it, right? So we've got the sun for a whole month in this nourishing vibe of Cancer. And on Thursday, it's squaring Neptune, which is the place of dreams, right? Neptune, it's a dreamy feel, it's a dreamy vibe, and sometimes we feel like, oh, this is the life I dream of, you know. This is the way I dream of being myself, right? Well, that dream feel is in Aries. Aries wants to charge forward. Aries has fuel. Aries wants to stand for something. So somehow this week, in the softness, in the depth, in the nourishment, there is this charge wanting to come through, right? And it's going to help us. And it might feel like a detour. It might feel like something we weren't quite expecting. It might feel like something is dissolving and allowing us to feel part of that dream. What you feel tugs at your dream. Trust it, and then boldly begin. And you know, it doesn't mean we need to change our whole life on the outside. Boldly begin might mean what inner landscape wants to change? What inner transformation or checking in or changing of habits or even shifting the way we feel about things or listening to how we feel and allowing that to inform what dissolves, right, can help us to boldly begin. On Friday, we're switching from the Scorpio moon, we're switching it up now, and we're moving into Sag. We'll have Sagittarius for those next 2.5 days. And I have it slotted on the morning here because I do put all the morning, all the zodiacs for the moon across the top. But it actually happens midday at 1:40 p.m. From the depths, right? We were in the depths when the moon was in Scorpio, and now we're moving from the depths to the horizon. Now we might be starting to feel like we're looking at the vision out here, right? So these patterns that we're looking at that are happening out there are so that we can reflect on what's happening in here. So it might be that last week to this week was like, wow, something's going on out here, and it's it's connecting and interfacing, exchanging with what's going on in here and here. And now I've landed in this next week, and because we've made up the weeks, right? Like the cosmos, nature doesn't say it's a week, it's a next week, and they're going to last for 7 days, right? This is a construct. The 7 days is a construct that we've created in society, and I won't get into that story, but what we can do is look at the natural phases and cycles and patterns that are happening out there to help us to navigate from in here on our path, right? So we're looking at letting the view now kind of open on the out here, right? We were weighing in, we were diving kind of deep, and now it's like, how do we put that out here? Did a detour happen? Is a shift happening? What's happening as we had the sun in Cancer squaring that charging forward of our dreams, right? It's like what nourishes us and what we want to have happen. And we're trying to figure out how to get that to happen as we're co-creating with what's out here, right? As a rendering of what's happening in here. Well, as we move forward, we have a couple more transits that are going to help us to put this together. So let's break it down further. On Saturday, Saturn Day, aim high, trust the bigger story. You know, we see Sagittarius depicted like with the bow and the archer bow, right? So like aim high. You don't know how you're going to get there maybe, but like aim high, feel what's nourishing you, trust the bigger story, so that as you're saying yes and no to the things that show up out here, we know that they're in alignment with what's going on in here. We might find ourselves saying, like, does this feel like my story? Does this feel like it will bring me more in the weeds of the hero's journey, and I won't go to that next level that I want to evolve through, so that we can say yes to what feels like it's nourishing us, nourishing our soul, helping to nourish and grow our dreams, and boldly say no to what's not. And sometimes boldly beginning means saying no to things that aren't part of the beginning. Know what really is the path and what does not feel like the path. Otherwise, we're going to be beginning the things that aren't really for us, that aren't really the life that we feel like we're here to live, right? So when we break down this transit that's happening at the end of the week, we have Mars in Taurus. And again, Mars is that wanting to take action. It does rule Aries, right? So they're kind of teaming up there, right? It's like Neptune was in Aries, and Mars, even though it's in Taurus right now, it's got that kind of Aries feeling because it wants to charge forward, right? Like it wants to stand for something. Sometimes I call that like the spiritual warrior kind of energy, like the spirit of you. What feels nourishing in you, right? Like what wants to go forward? What wants to be supported in a way that you could stand for it, right? Like your standards, your standards are a really good thing, to tune into there. Mars is in Taurus. Taurus is not fast moving. Taurus is not a mama bull who's charging ahead. Taurus is a shiny mama bull, right? She stands for her values. She knows her worth, right? It's that feeling. So our drive, Mars, going in order, breaking it down to help us build fluency and understand the words. Mars in Taurus, our drive, is grounded. And that is sextile, in harmonious union, sextile, Jupiter in Cancer. So Jupiter, the planet of expansion, wanting to expand what is soft, nourishing, feels like home, on the out there, and on the in here. So how does that go together, right? What's the union of our standards and our worth combining with the expansion of what truly nourishes our soul? Goosebumps, right? Your drive, grounded, grows what nourishes you. Grow what feeds you. If you're growing what does not feed you, are you going to live the life that you're here to live, right? These are only questions that you can answer. You are the expert of your life. Okay, on Sunday, still in Sagittarius, let your faith stretch as wide as the sky, right? Sagittarius is this feel of just like the open terrain. I'm gonna forge my own path, right? Not I'm gonna run away and avoid, or like burn like a wildfire out of control, right? But the higher frequencies of Sag, which is sacred. It's sacred mission on the path that is your path, that is no one else's path. To live and to create. Also on the 28th, on Sunday, the day for basking, what are we basking in, right? And so as we're letting our faith stretch as wide as the sky, the transit that shows up that day is Mars entering Gemini, right? So Mars, who wants to charge, stand for something, is slowing its roll because it's in Taurus. So I think it's less about action and more about the drive that's in here and letting it be like this internal force that has us check in with ourselves and almost fight for what we're here to live by listening to what's in here. It's not so much about go do the thing, it's about do the right things for you, right? So Mars entering Gemini, ideas, and being able to see lots of different options. It's a mindset kind of energy. It's communicative energy. So we want to make sure that we're not listening to a bunch of stories that aren't the authentic or truthful stories as we're looking at that wide horizon and the path we want to forge, because we want to be on the path that is our path, right? So we want to look at our drive, and it's like if we're driving the vehicle, we're in our game of life and we're driving the vehicle, we want to make sure that we don't take any wrong turns, right? We want to make sure we don't go off path, right? Unless it's a path we're forging, we want to stay on our path. So we've got that drive, and then we're mixing it with Gemini. So our drive turns quick and curious, right? So we might by the end of the week feel the energy shifting a little bit. And that's going to transition us into next week. And so we can move it, drive, right? Move it, moving forward maybe. Sometimes forward action means non-action by saying no to things that will veer us in a wrong direction, right? Move it into words. And it's not only words that we communicate, says Gemini, but having our words and our thoughts align with what's true and what truly nourishes us. And then having our actions, Mars, truly align with the thoughts and the words, right? And so it's really about alignment, I'm seeing. I'm seeing this week is very much about alignment. You know, you are the bridge. You know the answers inside. So I'm hoping that as we break down the cosmic code, we could say, into the elementary words that help us to decode and decipher, we can get reminders, almost like heavenly hieroglyphics, right? We can get the reminders from out there because we're all made of that same stardust. And maybe that can be reminding us of what's in here, right? As we move forward. And as you look at your own chart, if you want to decode further into your own life story, you can say, okay, we've got the moon going through, which is about our emotions, moving from Leo to Scorpio to Sag this week. And so you could take your own birth chart and you could look at the toggle to transit mode, and you could look at, okay, the moon is starting in Libra and it's going to go into Scorpio, this way, and it's going to go then into Sag. So what house, okay, what house in this example, perhaps this person's 8th house might be impacted. The themes around 8th house, 10th house to 11th house might be where they're feeling some of those feels, right? Or we could look at some of the other code words from the cosmos and look at those placements or those planets in the charts to see, well, where might this work if I looked at my transit chart or my birth chart like a destiny map, right? So I have some ideas of some places that we could go in to dive deep a little bit further. We could ask, well, where's Cancer? We had a lot of Cancer energy, right, this week. Where's Cancer in my chart? What house is it in, right? We also have Jupiter in Cancer right now. It takes about 18 months to go through a cycle. And that is the planet of abundance and expanding what is there, right? And so it's almost ending its cycle in Cancer, and it's going to be moving into its Leo era soon. So you might want to look at, well, where do I have Cancer in my birth chart? Where do I have Leo in my birth chart? And if you have an app that shows the planets on the outside and your birth chart planets on the inside, where they were at your birth on the inside, where they are right now on the outside, you'll see Jupiter in Cancer coming to the end, and it's going to be sliding into Leo. So you could look at what house number might be an area of life that might be expanding for me. Do I have any planets there? Because decoding those might give me more clues about what the sky would say is happening for me. All right, some other things that we could do is we could look at some of the other transits that we talked about. So we heard about Taurus. We heard that Mars was in Taurus. We could look at our Taurus and see where Mars is. Ooh, do we have anything close to that might be kind of getting activated right now? We could look at, we talked about Jupiter again. We talked about that being in, and we talked about that here too. We talked about that and maybe seeing, what's going on there. And this is just a bigger view so that you can take a look in case we're forgetting. what the symbol of Jupiter looks like. It kind of looks like a 2 to me, or a 4. Yeah. So you can go look for that in one of your apps. I like the Astro Matrix free app. I'm not associated, but I think it breaks things down pretty easily, and it's pretty user-friendly. So that's another thing we can do. Now, as a professional life coach, I really think that, and I really lean into powerful questions and how they can really unlock and open us to possibilities. And so what I do each week is I take the transits that are happening, and I take the 3 transits that I feel really most intuitively have some helpful curiosities or clues for us. And I create 3 powerful questions. And so if you would like the 3 powerful questions of the week, and the people who really, really answer them, I've been watching them, and their lives have been transforming so much. I'm really, 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 really proud of you if you've been doing that. It takes a lot to go in, and these are open-ended questions. They're very open-ended, and when you're practicing this week, listening to what's nourishing you, listening to what feels like an alignment, listening to what it feels like your higher path, and then you boldly and bravely answer the questions for yourself, answers come not only from you, but from life. Synchronicities happen. Magic happens when we go there, right? It helps us tap into the possibilities. On the bottom of the Conversations with the Cosmos page, if you've done it before, or if you're going to be new to it and want to ask for it by request, on the bottom, there are some go deeper points. And what I've done here for you is actually broken down what I've told you here. So you can have the sheet and remember when this is done without having to come back to the video. Another thing that I would love for you to do to deepen is down in the comments below, I'd love to see your interpretation. So if you're looking at Sun in Cancer, radiance, energy, life force, in Cancer, nourishment, caring, home, and it's trining in positive connection with the North Node, the direction of our destiny in Pisces, the zodiac of dreams. What nourishes you points the way. I want to know, what's your interpretation? If you were to decode these, and you know I'm a former elementary school teacher, so I like to break it down in simple terms. What are some simple words you could use in order? I want to hear your versions, right? Pick any of the transits you want. Do all of them if you want. Down below in the comments. And then soon we will have our online hub, where not only can we do that, but we can put our charts up and be sharing that way and learn together in community. But until then, we do have our Wednesday live calls. We call them Soul Connect Live, because we come together as soul family and we dive into some of these things. We share what we're noticing for the week. Sometimes we might share, like maybe someone will share what was nourishing them, or how they bravely and boldly did a thing, or like, whoa, this was happening, and then I looked and saw this transit happening. Or they might say, you know what, I have no idea how to read my chart, or like, how do I even use an app? Like, what? Come and join together, and we all help each other out. You can also, if you can't be there live on Wednesday, noon Central Time, you can send in your questions, send in your stories, send in your chart even, and we'll read it for you and look for some answers for you if you have questions, and then you can watch the replay. Again, this week in the Sky Bridge map, which is a bridge for you to become who you need to be to create the life you want to see. You are the expert in your own life. These are just translations from the codes, from the archetypes that are out there, helping us know and tune in to the archetypes we have in here. But I'm hoping that this helps you become the highest self you can be. And that doesn't mean judging, and that doesn't mean competing with anything or anyone. It means you being the you that helps you feel fully alive, so that you can fulfill the destiny that you are here to experience in this life. And you know, when we tap into purpose, what I believe is your purpose here is to be yourself. So I'm thinking of you guys as you serve the world by being yourself this week.